morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to First Take. Thank you for being with us. Stephen A. Smith, former Cowboy Keyshawn Johnson. I'm Molly Karen Rose.
How are you? Good morning.
I'm amazing. How are you?
All right. Your voice good? You good? You ready to rock?
I'm all good.
He's not all right, so don't let him tell you he's all right.
I watched the Eli Payton broadcast, and it was very entertaining and very informative. I enjoyed it very much.
What you mean I'm not all right, man? Now, what you mean I'm not all right?
What's today, Tuesday? So your head's been hurting since last week. Since last week. Between the Steelers, the Raiders in Carr, and Chucky, and then last night with the Cowboys.
See, you're supposed to be my boy, but that's
I'm your boy.
That's how I go. That's how I go. I feel you. I feel you. But not
when
today.
You talk all that noise.
That's right. Okay.
All right, let's get to it.
Cowboys.
Let's go.
Let's go.
How about them Cowboys?
Together. We've got a great pace of play that we're playing with. We've got a great brotherhood. Everybody's holding each other accountable. It's fun to be a part of. We've got so many playmakers that don't have egos, and they make my job easy. Offensive line protects, and guys go make plays.
I think he's clearly playing better now, in my opinion. I mean, last year we were in track meets last year. This is clearly a different football team than last year. You're seeing 3 games where I feel like we've been very complimentary, both offense and defense, and he's doing a lot in the run game, as far as handling the checks and things like that. But, yeah, I feel he's playing better this year than last year.
Even as a Giants fan, because I'm not a petty person, I couldn't be happier for Dak Prescott and how this season's going with everything that he's been through. So setting the table for you, Stephen A., is this the year that the accident won't happen for Dallas?
Oh, hell no.
Sure feels like it.
Oh, the accident coming. I mean, listen, the setup is beautiful. I get where everybody's saying. And by the way, let me make a prediction right here. The Dallas Cowboys 2-1 right now, right?
That is correct.
They're going to be 8-1. I mean, when I'm looking at the six, they're going to be at least 7-2 or 8-1. I'm looking at them. They got Sam Darnold coming up, and then they got the Giants, and then they got the New England Patriots. So you got Daniel Jones, and then Mac Jones, and Matt Ryan, and Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, just stop the presses. Just stop the presses. I mean, we got to stop it right there. Oh, my Lord, look at who they about to go against. Oh, please. They going to win their games. They going to win the division like I said they would. It's going to be a cakewalk because look at their schedule. They ain't really, as far as I'm concerned, it isn't a game they shouldn't win before they go up against Kansas City in like week 9 or 10. So I look at it and I say, all right, Dallas Cowboys going to do that. Everybody going to get excited, Keyshawn. They're going to be all hyped. They're going to get ready to go. But I would remind you, these are the Cowboys that we talk about already this season. We had Zach Martin out for protocol. We got La'el Collins that's been suspended for PED use, if I remember correctly. What else we got here? We also have Randy Gregory. He's in the lineup, but you know what? Can we rely on Randy Gregory, Keisha? I'm not so sure. We'll see what happens. The list just goes on and on and on. They've made headlines for a potpourri of things before last night took place. And we got to understand, that's just this early in the season. And as things begin to percolate, because these are the Cowboys, they got the star on the helmet, they're playing the $1 billion playpen, they got the fly cheerleaders, they got everything, right? Everything is beautiful in Dallas. Expectations are only going to continue to climb, and that's going to make the fall, the drop, that much more painful. I see it coming a mile away, Keyshawn. You can see it too. And last night,
I can't see it.
Last night they went against Jalen Hurts. I keep telling y'all, he got promised. He ain't ready. He ain't ready. He ain't ready.
Why are you going to discount that victory? A W is a W. A win is a win.
Okay, W is a W.
It's the fashion in which they won.
Okay.
Look how they won the game.
Yeah, they were dominant.
Ezekiel Elliott got down.
That's right.
You discovered a new tight end in Swartz. Okay, the receivers did their thing.
Discovered a new tight end. You know the back end of that defense is weak. The front.
You discovered a new tight end. Man, things are beautiful. The plays work to execution the way that they're supposed to, no matter who the defense is, Stephen A.
What has happened to you?
That's what you look at. You look at that. You look at, oh, he's going to bootleg. There's the tight end in the flat. He gives it to him. Now he takes it and runs an extra 10, 15 yards for 6. That's the beauty of it, no matter who the defense is. And you talk about the schedule. You only plays in front of you, man.
I agree with that.
Okay, yeah, we left too much time. I say we, I don't mean to say we.
Yeah.
We left too much time on the clock.
All right.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think we made that mistake.
Okay.
But the way they played that game, just the way they played it from beginning to end, that could have and should have been a W. They went out to LA, they took care of business against the Chargers. That's a W. They come home.
Hold on, you saying Tampa should have been a W?
Tampa should have been a W.
Why?
They should have been W.
Why?
They
What
should've won
got
that game.
hurt?
No.
Whitehead wasn't
it ain't
even
got
showing
nothing to
the
do with
game.
that.
That week in the secondary.
The offense and Dak Prescott coming off his injury for the first time played well enough to win that football game.
And they played well enough to lose, which they did.
It took Tom Brady at the end of that game, which you don't leave him that much time on the clock, or Aaron Rodgers. We know that they're going to come and get you.
All right.
That was a mistake that was made.
Okay.
And you think the bottom is going to fall out when
Yes.
the team continues. They've never, I don't know when the last time they had this type of momentum going into a season where they're going to win games. You got them at 8-1 before they play the Chiefs. I think that's what you said.
8-1.
When the last time you seen the Cowboys have a type of season where they're going to be 8-1, 9-1 before they see a real opponent?
That's fair enough.
You learn from those mistakes against those opponents that you take care of. You say, can Randy Gregory hold up? Okay, well, if he doesn't hold up, there's other people. There's Michael Parsons who's coming to the party.
Michael Parsons is no joke. Trayvon Diggs is big time. Diggs and Parsons are no joke.
Okay.
I give love and respect.
So what's the problem?
Hold on. I give love and respect to both of them. Diggs and obviously Parsons, no joke.
So what's the problem?
Offensively, I've never had any questions about the Dallas Cowboys. What I'm telling you is right now, defensively, they still rank second to last against the pass in the NFL. Hold on, let's pay attention to all that. Hold on. All right, and I'm telling you it's going to continue. I'm telling you it's going to continue. Because it's who they are.
It's a new scheme.
So what you trying to say? So let me ask you this question, because we just finished talking about the Rams the other day. We recognize, we saw what Aaron Rodgers did, okay? We can't ignore that. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still going to be relevant. San Francisco's nothing to sneeze at. Arizona's coming, okay?
I don't know what that is.
All I'm trying to say to you is, so what you trying to say? What are you?
They're in the pack. You ain't never even had them in the pack. They're in the pack. They're in the pack. Are they not in the pack?
They in the pack. No? They in the pack.
Okay, so
they in the
pack.
But
if you are in
They're
the
also
pack,
in a terrible division that they can own.
Well, I don't care about the division.
That helps them.
No, but I'm saying I don't care about the division. They're going to win the division. I mean, when I say
they could get a bye. Yeah.
They got to win. You got to win probably 15 games to get a bye. They probably could do that. They probably could, but then you still got Tampa. You can still got the Rams. So, but being in the pack, which means coming to the party. If you in the dance, you just like everybody else.
So you just like everybody else. Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Everybody damn else.
Excuse me. Washington was just like everybody else last year. They won the division at 7-9.
Washington wasn't like everybody else.
I'm just saying they're in the postseason. Once you're in the postseason, once you're in the dance, you got a chance.
You had a
once
chance.
You like that, Ron? Once you're in the dance, you got a chance.
But who did they run up against?
I agree. They ran up against That's right.
On, man.
That's right.
Ain't gonna beat
and Taylor Heineke looked decent, throwing for over 300 yards in that particular game.
Against Terrific Tom in that situation.
And let me
he ain't going out in no damn first round.
And you ain't gonna win against Terrific Tom in the Cowboys situation when you meet him again. You gonna fall again.
I don't know.
Listen,
I've been there before where I lost to a team in the regular season, the Philadelphia Eagles, as you remember.
Yes.
And everybody assumed
you constantly
Brian
remind
Dawkins
me of that.
And everybody thought because they was gonna see us in the playoffs, it was going to be a cakewalk.
Well, we thought it was going to be a cake. We thought it was going to be a cake. We thought it was going to be a cakewalk because we know you like the sunshine. And you went from Southern Cal to the Florida sunshine. And then that game at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia was damn near 20, 25 below.
That's true.
So we thought the freezing temperatures was going to hamper y'all.
But we answered the bell. And
you
the
did?
Cowboys are going to answer the bell.
Really?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. See,
getting in the dance is all I care about.
Right.
They haven't been in the dance in quite some time.
Well, you know they're going to get to the playoffs. They ain't saying nothing.
No, but getting there looking a certain way.
Okay.
They won against the Philadelphia Eagles last night, but they look a certain way.
Are you saying
when a dude go 21-26 for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interception?
Can you tell me?
That's a plus.
Can you tell me that the Dallas Cowboys going to win a playoff game? Are you telling me that?
I believe they will.
I believe they won't. Where we go. Okay.
So that's on record.
All right. It's on record. Damn right. Damn right. I mean, the setup is beautiful. I love this. They even got you singing their praises. I love this right here. It's great. The fall is going to be epic. I'm telling y'all right now, it's going to be epic.
If it's not,
I can't wait.
And if they don't? And if it don't go that way?
I'm going to be sick to my stomach, but I got to acknowledge it. I got to acknowledge it.
You don't think Dak Prescott right now, based on the 3 games that you've seen, can lead his team to the NFC Championship game?
I think the defense will get in the way.
You think the defense is going to get away? You don't think the defense is going to grow with a new defensive coordinator and a bunch of new bodies? You don't think that defense is going to get better time and time again? Because they certainly play.
Don't talk him out of his position.
No, I'm not talking about.
Who's going to do that? Who the hell is going to do that? Ain't nobody going to do that.
If you look at where they were against Tampa, what they look like against the Chargers, and how dominant they were against a young Jalen Hurts in the Philadelphia Eagles, that's promising. That's progress.
I think it's promising.
How you not
I'm
gonna
with
say
you,
that
but
ain't
I'm
progress?
with Stephen
You
A.
still
I
answer
don't
the
think
question,
Philly's
though.
that impressive, but yeah.
I don't believe the Eagles are going to win a playoff game.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm
You mean the
saying.
Cowboys?
The Cowboys, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't believe the Cowboys are going to win a playoff game. I'm saying that for the record. The fall is going to be epic. I'm trying to tell y'all right now. I've got y'all on record, too. Just be clear
It's a
about
new
that.
day, Stephen
Right?
A.
I
More
got
on
y'all
this
on
game
record.
later. There's going to be a lot of feelings in this next one, too. I might be more excited for Sunday.
Tampa Bay was a better situation, given he's realistic in the situation. They didn't have anything. And if I'm Tom Brady and I'm looking at it and I want to not only have fun in my life and get out of whatever people think I'm being handcuffed and I have a personality that I want to show the world and I can't do it because we do things a certain way in Tampa, in Boston, then no, there's no regrets. He had conversations with Tom about extending his deal. Tom didn't want to extend the deal. Tom wanted to be a free agent to look and see how he can get back to the Super Bowl the fastest way, Molly. And that was going to Tampa Bay. He looked at San Francisco. He looked at the Chargers. He took a look in Las Vegas, and he finally decided to settle in at Tampa Bay because it made the most sense. And that's okay.
You don't think he would have preferred to stay in New England if they got the right pieces around
But
him?
you're not going to get the same pieces in New England, Stephen A. and Molly, as they got in Tampa in free agency. There's no damn way. Where you getting Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Gronkowski didn't want to go back to New England? So you got to get Gronk to come to Florida. They are AB. You saw what he did. He torched New England when he left to Mr. Kraft. So that wasn't going to happen. So you go down there. That defense at the time was playing lights out with Todd Bowles. That wasn't going to happen in New England. So when you look at everything, the more pieces and it's better for him to settle in Florida. And I'm sure Giselle had something to do with that. Giselle had already spoken to Mr. Kraft in the past about the treatment of her husband, not feeling as though he's not being treated a certain way. It had nothing to do with money. A lot of people think, oh, they didn't want to give him a contract. That was not it. Tom just wanted
Well, they don't need money, so I
Tom
wouldn't
just
think
wanted
that.
to leave. Tom just didn't want to be handcuffed. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
I respectfully disagree with you, understanding that not only did you play and you're a champion, you're incredibly connected to the NFL. But I'm a reporter and I hear what I hear as well. And I respect where the hell you're coming from. And for the most part, you're right on the money. Here's where I jump away from what you're saying, Keyshawn. Everything didn't come down to the final moment when Tom Brady decided to leave. It was years in the making. And it was years in the making because, as Alex Guerrero, his conditioning coach, articulated, Bill Belichick never evolved. He was always treating Tom Brady like that guy that arrived in his 20s. He didn't adjust. And when you take into account the fact that Tom Brady, who played there, was there 20 years, 6 Super Bowl wins, 9 Super Bowl appearances, okay? For him to do what he did, he should have never been just another guy. He should have never been just another player. You know, everybody ain't Keyshawn Johnson. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you got cats on your show in the morning where you know what is Jay and Max, but damn it, it's Keyshawn. Keyshawn is Keyshawn, okay? All right? Everybody's valuable, but everybody ain't the same. Okay? It's just that simple. When you look at athletes, everybody's not the same. And when you have this mentality that I'm not going to evolve and I'm not going to adjust and I'm going to be as rigid as I've always been, and you're just another guy to me, that's a problem. I reported the day that Tom Brady announced that he was leaving New England, that I was specifically told if Tom wanted to stay, we would have worked it out. And all it would have took for him to stay is Bill Belichick saying, I want you to stay. And the fact that Bill Belichick couldn't bring himself to do that is a problem. And then when you take into account the fact that Bill Belichick is essentially your GM as well as your head coach, the absence of personnel that they had for years. No, it might not have been a combination of Evans and Godwin and O.J. Howard and Gronk and Antonio Brown and Scott Miller. But damn it, you certainly could have upgraded to a point where it wasn't as bereft of talent as it was Tom Brady's last year in New England. He didn't do that for years.
Can I cut you off, though?
Sure.
Didn't they just win a damn Super Bowl 2 Super Bowls ago?
Yes.
What are you talking about, Stephen A?
Let me tell you why. Because Tom Brady, as y'all have said, remember, I'm deferring to y'all. as y'all have said, Tom Brady looked around. He looked at the situation. He looked at what he was working with and didn't like it. So a lot of times that contributed. I realized that, first of all, it was a brilliant question. And to a lesser brilliant mind, you would have gotten away with that.
I'm not trying to get away with nothing.
That's not what. I'm getting ready to tell you what. I'm getting ready to answer the question. Tom Brady, because that points to what Tom Brady is saying. This is why he feels he should be appreciated. Because on many occasions, he looked at what he was able to do and how his talent and his level of brilliance were able to overcome what you lacked in terms of what you gave him to work with. He found a way to work around it anyway, and you still wouldn't appreciate it if you're Bill Belichick. That's the issue.
When you go out and you spending money for years to get to 9 Super Bowls and win 6 of them, at some point, there is a salary cap. You have to pay the piper, no matter what anybody says. This year was the time for them to spend money, not last season during the pandemic. Nobody can spend any money.
I understand that.
Nobody can spend any money, so they couldn't go out and get the type of players to rebuild.
Keyshawn, remember, Tom Brady, for many years, over the course of his career, had, altered his salary, modified, took pay cuts, all of that stuff. He made all the necessary sacrifices to assist in Bill Belichick winning. So when we ask the question, should Bill Belichick have regrets? You're damn right, because he didn't just do it for you in terms of his performance on the field. He made adjustments to put you in a position to go out and get some personnel in order for him to win. And you still wouldn't appreciate it.
No. Hold on. Keyshawn, look at me. It feels like you're handling the situation as Keyshawn Johnson, not Tom Brady. Like you're diffusing the situation. You're like, it's all business. Tampa was a better situation. How you would have felt about it. But I don't believe that's how Tom Brady feels about it when we hear his father coming out and saying, like, damn right, it's personal. Bill wanted him out. And then Alex Guerrero, hold on, let me finish. Then Alex Guerrero coming out and saying what he did about the mistreatment. So I feel like you're looking at, they're just purely this business. There's so much more to that. There's 20 years of history.
I do. Okay. Have I been around coaches in my career that wear on me? Absolutely. Tom's been around Bill that wear on me, or wear on him. 20 years of Bill Belichick grinding the same things. Of course you're going to feel a certain way. That's why Bill said the situation was better down in Tampa for him. That's why I said what I said about personnel. It's better in Tampa for him. But you can't sit here and tell me that for 20 years, Tom Brady didn't get to do what he wanted to do, because I remember many times looking in the offseason and Tom Brady was off doing whatever he was doing with his family, enjoying while everybody else was in training camp or mini camps working, because they gave him some leeway. Does Tom Brady need to be treated like Michael Jordan? Absolutely. There's no question about it. But guess what, Stephen A. and Molly? That's not his plan. That's not Bill Belichick. That's just not who he is.
Right.
He'd rather take the L than take the W's if he has to change.
Okay. And
that's just how stubborn coaches.
But what
Bill Jackson, stubborn in basketball.
But I think what you're missing, we're not saying that Bill Belichick is any different than you described. What we're saying is you should regret that in the end if you're about.
But I don't think he's regretting.
I understand. No, we're not talking about what he feels. We're talking about what he should feel, in our opinion. Yeah. And what I'm saying to you is that he should regret it if he's about winning, because the reality is that the situation that you have now, the situation that you had last year, would have been non-existent if 5 years earlier you had sat up there and go, damn, this is a dude that's really done a lot for me.
So maybe my mind is a little twisted, because when you're having conversations and that same question is like, what do you think? He goes, and this is from Belichick in conversation.
Sure.
That he doesn't regret the situation because they had great years together. It was fine. They went to 9 Super Bowls and won 6.
Okay.
So he's satisfied with what they were able to accomplish over a 20-year period.
All right.
So that's why I say
Bill's cool, but we're saying maybe Tom Brady
maybe
isn't,
not. Maybe Tom
he would have preferred to stay there.
Probably
and
so.
And now he's probably happy with how it planned out.
Oh, he's certainly happy. You could just tell based on how
so the plan worked out better for him.
Yeah, it worked out better for him.
But
because
I think
you're being stuck, though,
his wife wouldn't have went and talked to the owner. Trust me.
Exactly.
If his heart wasn't with the organization.
It's like he felt like he was being stuck in jail.
I go back. See, this is the difference. See, I'm the affectionate, it's like an oxymoron. I'm the affectionate nightmare of this man. I've known this man for over 20 years. You understand what I'm trying to say? You talk, if he were Tom Brady and he got treated like that, he'd be like, you damn right he regrets it. He should regret it. He should have treated me better.
Well,
That's what he was saying.
It's hard, though, Stephen A., because I was never treated a certain way. Like, my coaches always treated me different. Like, Bill Parcells treated me different than he treated everybody else.
Probably because
Tony Dungy treated me different. Coach Fox treated me different. Gruden tried to, but then he tried to be that tough guy. It's like, well, wait a minute, my other coaches treat me different. It ain't going to work.
That's right.
So you got to know every individual when you're a coach who is what. Yeah. That's just how it is.
You got you.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun Sunday, that's for sure.
I can't wait.
And leading up to it, it'll be even.
No, they're all three under consideration right now, in regards to where they're at. So we'll just have to kind of see, Hub, the next couple days where they're all at. We know where Nick's at health-wise, but we just want to keep an eye on Justin and Andy, and then for us to stay on that and make sure that we have a plan for any of those.
I brought in another champion to enjoy the party here. What's going on, Jeff Saturday?
Hey, glad to be here.
Glad to see you. I want to start with you. How's he handling this situation, Matt Nagy?
Well, he just said a key word. He said, in our planning. And from last Sunday's performance, there's a lot of planning going on right now. And when you talk about three quarterbacks, like, I don't even understand that conversation. Like, this was not on Justin Fields and his performance. This was a situation where you put him out in a situation where he could not succeed. Could he have played better? Sure. But after you've been hit 16 times, you think you're making clear decisions? Absolutely not. The game plan that the Browns brought in was a poor game plan, and it should have been switched. Like, it's not that hard, Key. It's not that hard, Stephen A., to say, hey, we're getting smoked on the outside. Let's bring some tight ends in to balance some stuff out. Let's make sure we're chipping. Let's make sure we're really sitting inside. I mean, there were literal plays where there were 13 out of 20 plays where they literally let the Browns defense just tee off on them. And instead of having any kind of response to it, hey, think about the Green Bay Packers, how they played the 49ers. They came in, they were bringing dudes in on the sides, and they were trying to break Bosa's ribs. I mean, they're smoking dudes giving their defensive pass rush something to think about. Mm-hmm. The Bears never did that. So now you're adding on, you're making a bad situation worse when you're saying, oh, now we don't know it could be any of three quarterbacks. And Les Fields can absolutely not play. He's got to be your guy so you can build around him. He has to learn. The only way to learn is to go through situations like Sunday and come out the following Sunday and be better. So I'm really disappointed when you talk about, oh, we're trying to match this, we're trying to figure this out. He should have said, if Fields is healthy, he's going to be my guy. He's going to come back in, and that's what we're going to do and moving forward.
Chicago Bears, they ranked dead last in the passing game, dead last in yards accumulated, second to last in points scored. Here's the part with all the things that you just said, which is right on the money, but one thing you didn't illuminate nearly as much as you should have. Based on what Matt Nagy said to the press, why the hell wasn't Nick Foles starting last week against Cleveland? That's the whole point.
And that's the message. You're right.
So the point is, going into the game, what I said was, Justin Fields is a rookie. Obviously, you're going to give him some reps. He's the future of the franchise, et cetera, et cetera. But when you got Myles Garrett, Davion Clowney, and those boys coming at you, that doesn't need to be your first start. Not with that anemic offense, not with that offensive line, not with Matt Nagy being the guy at the helm. You don't need to put him in that situation. If you're going to start the brother, start him against the Lions instead of against the Cleveland Browns, even though the Lions haven't been bad this year. Here's my point. In the end, after that disastrous performance where Justin Fields gets sacked 9 times, gets slaughtered, you come out the next day, and what do you say? I don't know who my quarterback is, which means it could be anybody. And if it could have been anybody, why wouldn't it be a guy that won a Super Bowl championship for you that's been in the league for 10 years? Why wouldn't it be that guy that was standing on the sideline next to the injured Andy Dalton saying, this offense don't work? Ooh. Literally on the sidelines. I'm quoting Nick Foles here. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's just the latest element that highlights Matt Nagy may not be the guy for this job in Chicago. Certain dudes are coordinators. That's who they are.
When they call plays.
When they call plays.
He wasn't calling plays in Kansas City.
There you go. So, I understand that. Well, Eric Bieniemy, we all want him to be a coach.
Eric Bieniemy is calling plays.
Yeah, but sometimes Andy Reid was in the past. And that's why we were lamenting it, because we were like, if Andy Reid, if you really, really support this brother, being a guy that's be a head coach in the NFL, let him call some plays so everybody isn't looking at you and saying, you're the guy really calling the plays. Let Eric Bieniemy do that. I understand that wasn't Matt Nagy, but in the end, it still comes down to the fact this man doesn't seem equipped to be a head coach of an NFL franchise.
And you hide behind head coaches all the time. We see it in New England with Bill Belichick. because of the success that you have, people automatically assume that that guy behind him is going to be successful. Now, look, Jeff is right. It's simple, man. I could, right now, having not been in the NFL, in a coach's room, I can literally, I promise you, walk into Chicago this week and put a game plan together, and that brother will have more success than he did against Cleveland.
Right.
I promise you.
It was that bad, guy?
Because
awful,
it's not that difficult.
Right.
They make it more complicated than anything. And I heard what you said. Nick Foles should be the starter. Why would you blah, blah, blah against
Cleveland.
Cloud?
Against Cleveland, yes.
But that's not true, though. Here's why. The game plan sucked. They didn't move him nearly as much as they should have. And to the point where when you start hearing people like Myles Garrett laughing at the fact that he got 4.5 sacks.
He said he was shocked. He said he was shocked.
They was anticipating being chipped on the edges, tight ends coming in motion, receivers coming down the block to seal off the edges. None of that ever happened.
Well, remember, just correct before I let y'all chime back in. I didn't take the position that Justin Fields shouldn't start against Cleveland because of Justin Fields' talent.
I understand.
I took the position because of who he was playing for,
I
which is Matt
understand.
Nagy.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, no, not him in that situation because I can't trust Matt Nagy.
He didn't put a competent game plan together to protect the dude.
Right.
If you put a game plan together for him to have success, like even though Mac Jones is 1-2, he's having success as a rookie in New England because that game plan works for his youth.
Right.
They'll take the training wheels off at some point in time, but not right now. They didn't even put a training wheel package together for Justin Fields in Chicago.
And when you talk,
so you don't have a chance.
Yeah, when you talk about ruining guys, you know, you always hear like quarterbacks don't need to be bubble wrapped. Like this whole conversation of you can ruin a guy. You ruin a guy because you create poor habits for that player long term, right? Everything's about the process for a quarterback. Why I say young quarterbacks should play early is because you need to learn that process. Like he'll go in, Justin Fields should go in. There's a play where he did a zone read and they trigger blitzed him and they sacked him, okay? And they had the tight end blocking Myles Garrett on the left-hand side. Well, the problem was he's turning left and his open receiver is going to be on his right. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, they would call off the play action. Hey, no. Free release, do what you're going to do. I'm going to pop out and do that. Justin Fields can go back and look at that. When he was max protected and took a sack, it was a 3rd and 10, and they run basically hooks, and the defense is playing at the sticks to prevent it, right? Dump it off to the tight end. You might not get the first down, but you won't take the sack. That's a learning process. That's a process to teach a quarterback, hey, here's some things you can work on. The problem is when you let him get hit like he did, now they create habits where, man, they're panicking.
Down, I'm gone.
Yeah, they're going to panic, man. And now it's not a process of rolling him out of the pocket, doing the nakeds and boots and protecting him. It's hurrying to make a play happen that's going to create bad habits for interceptions and sacks.
There's no debate in here. I'm asking. I'm just asking questions now. Here's my question. Based on what you're both telling me, why should Justin Fields play in another game this season as long as Matt Nagy is the starter?
Right now.
Why should he play? Because based on what you said, I mean, if you talk about they didn't come with a training wheels plan.
Hopefully, the coaches learn from this past weekend. Hopefully. We've seen them last year struggle to figure out Mr. Trubisky in the beginning. Well, the beginning was okay.
That's the most worrisome part, too.
Then,
that's a great point.
The second half of the season, they kind of started to let Mitch Trubisky do Mitch Trubisky things. But by then, the town of Chicago had soured on Mitch Trubisky.
Right.
He never had a real shot to come back.
But see,
so it's not that they're not incompetent to figure it out.
It's not competent.
It's just, can they figure it out? Because you can't tell me, Jeff, what is it, 9 dudes on the coaching staff on offense?
Come on.
You can't tell me 9 coaches on the coaching staff on the offensive side are all blind to what just happened.
I don't believe that either. I got you.
Key's point about Trubisky, they put him in a drop back, in a pocket passer position, which was not the best benefit. They did the same thing to Fields on Sunday. So what does that do? That puts him on the defensive all the time. He can't use his athleticism. When you get a guy moving and he's in the flow of the game, he can now manipulate defenders. So the problem with what my concern would be, Ryan Pace, their general manager, his first meeting should have been with Nagy after the game. We will not have this again. We will not have
I'm going to tell you where I'm at with it. Based on what I'm going off of what y'all are telling me. This is my position. I would be fearful of putting Fields back in the game as long as Matt Nagy is coaching. And if I don't see any adjustments made by Matt Nagy in some capacity, I'm not waiting till the end of the season. he'd be gone in a matter of. I'd give him a couple of weeks.
But I'm the general manager. He's tied to me. We're gonna go together.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Unless
That's
the owner and the president make a decision to say both of y'all go.
Well, that's what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So really, now we get to the heart of what really is the problem
Politics.
in Chicago. You've got a GM and a head coach
That are tied.
tied at the hip together, and as a result, you're going to see limited movement unless ownership gets involved. And if ownership gets involved, it ain't going to be one of them that's going. You got to get rid of both of them.
Let me
So
tell you-
Fields is getting screwed over.
Yeah. And you're right. The whole Tide thing, the problem is their defense is so good, they're going to keep them in games.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to win some games. They're going to sneak up and win some games.
I don't think that's a problem.
And
You know why I don't think that's a problem? Because that's happened with Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
You saw the defense get compromised to some degree
Yeah.
because Trubisky couldn't get it done under
But
Matt
here-
Nagy.
but-
So why wouldn't that
But
happen
if they go 8-9 or 9-8,
That's not good enough.
do they keep them? I mean,
No.
that's going to be the concern.
No, they got to go.
That's the whole
But
Tide together.
Here's what you do if you want to win some games and you want to stay competitive in the division.
Right.
Run the football.
Absolutely.
Play
Montgomery.
defense, run the football, and every now and then use your athletic ability. That's all you got to do, and you're going to win a lot of games. Dropping him back.
No.
Yeah,
It's
where he's
not the
pressured
answer.
60% of the
not the
time.
answer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, they'll be looking for their second win this Sunday when the Detroit Lions come to town. We'll keep it rolling here. Jeff, you'll be back. We got a Steven C list coming
Yeah,
up.
we're ready.
We need you
We're
to bring
ready.
that.
See, that's betrayal.
No,
That's betrayal
I'm
right
with
there.
you.
That's
I
Steven
didn't
C.
mean to
Listen,
say that.
Hey,
It
you
just
being
came
honest.
out. And he declined to discuss his vaccination status or his intentions in dealing with the matter. Last month, New York City's mayor issued an executive order that required New York resident pro athletes that practice or play indoors to show proof of at least one vaccination shot. On the West Coast, Golden State Warriors swingman Andrew Wiggins also not budging with his vaccination status. His request for a religious exemption was denied. Here they both are.
I like to keep that stuff private, man. I'm a human being first, and obviously living in this public sphere, there's just a lot of questions about what's going on in the world of Kyrie, and I think I just would love to just keep that private and handle it the right way with my team and go forward together with a plan. So, obviously I'm not able to be present there today. But that doesn't mean that I'm putting any limits on the future of me being able to join the team. And I just want to keep it that way.
Back is definitely, against the wall. But I'm just going to keep fighting for what I believe, and whether it's one thing or another, get the vaccination or not get the vaccination, who knows? I'm just going to, keep fighting for what I believe, and what I believe is right. What's right to one person isn't right to the other, vice versa.
All right, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar losing patience and expressing a call to action, telling Rolling Stone the NBA should insist that all players and staff are vaccinated or remove them from the team. There is no room for players who are willing to risk the health and lives of their teammates and the staff and fans simply because they are unable to grasp the seriousness of the situation or do the necessary research.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Will here with us now. Stephen A.,
Yeah.
I will start with you. Do you agree with Kareem?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm on the record for saying that. Let's understand something here, okay? And I openly admit to Keyshawn and Jay, I'm about to lose my mind over this because if I hear one more dude talk to me about privacy, two things that gets on my damn nerves about this. Privacy, and I need to do my research. Really? How long has COVID existed?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
It's been
2 years.
What
2 years in
what
February.
the hell do you mean? What have you been doing? If research is that important to you, you had the season stopped March 11th last year because of COVID. Restarted in January. That's 4 months. That's 4 months right there. This is before the vaccine came down there. But you had 4 months to do some research. Then after that, there was bubble play from late July to October. Then you had 2 more months before last season happened. And then you had last season that went from December to July. You play basketball for a living. How much time do you need to research? That's number one. Then you got these guys with the privacy thing. Well, listen to this. I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't have a right to look at your medical records and see your medical history. No, I'm not saying that. But if you can contaminate me with COVID,
I need to know.
I do have a right to know
Fair point.
if you vaccinated or not. I got a right to know that. We're not asking about anything else. We're asking about COVID and COVID only. That's number 2. Number 3, Andrew Wiggins, even though he could ball, he's the quietest number 1 overall pick that I've encountered in recent memory. You get paid $31 million. Kyrie, you know, you're getting 35. I will remind everybody, this is the same Kyrie that is a member of the National Basketball Players Association. He's a vice president.
Vice president.
Okay, check this out, Keyshawn. You get hurt before COVID. The season gets canceled. They get ready to re-jumpstart the season in July in the bubble. You encouraging people not to play. You ain't even called the president, Chris Paul, and talked to him about it. You just went out there and said what you had to say and just ignored everybody else. Then you come out and after being gone, because you didn't play in the bubble, so after being gone from March all the way to December, the season starts up again, and 3 weeks to a month into the season, you take 2 weeks off. You need a break. After 9 months off, and now here you are. Media day shows up. You know where to be found. You see, this is what y'all have to be remembered. You've got coaches, administrators, arena officials,
Referees.
Everybody's been mandated to be vaccinated, but the players, because you haven't reached an agreement with the union. And you standing up here knowing that New York and San Francisco are the 2 cities that said you don't play unless you vaccinated. You don't go to indoors.
2 cities
and you,
for now.
And you ain't, and for now, and you ain't show up. Kyrie is a superstar. Box office. But if the American public is sitting back and going like this, you know what, he getting on my damn nerves. I'm sick and tired of this dude. We out here, millions of people losing their jobs. People have lost their lives and what have you. And you taking this stance or whatever, hell with it. The NBA is a private industry. I sit up there and look, y'all, you ain't vaccinated, you ain't playing. That would be me. That would be me. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, you know, the privacy issue, I get. I don't really want to, unless it affects me, I really don't want to know anything about your personal. I'm just not
none
in
of
your
my
personal.
business.
None of my business.
None of my business.
Would you want to know if Stephen A. and I weren't vaccinated and you had to come do the show with us without a mask on?
I know you're vaccinated, though.
But I said, would you want to know? Because it's a similar situation.
I would want to know.
Yeah.
So I would want to know. But this is what I was saying about.
So for teammates, it's fair for them, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. But they know.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They already
They do
know.
know.
They know. So what I would say to that is there's consequences in these leagues to guys not being vaccinated. Because one thing the owners will not do, especially like in football, they're not going to lose money. They're not going to forfeit games and cancel games. They're not doing that. That's why all these protocols are put in place. So if anything happens, we're going to remove you. And I understand exactly what Kareem and Stephen A. is saying. If you are affecting the bottom line, which not means your money as a player, but people in the building at work, staff, ushers, things of that nature, you're putting them in harm's way, you need to be removed and put to the side. Now, I can't get into why a person decides to do it and why a person doesn't decide to do it. I'm like, Stephen A., you got all day long. You done had a long time to figure it out. If I can figure it out like that, I know damn, and I'm an athlete, I know damn well some of these athletes can figure it out. Because I'm really honestly listening to the dudes with the white suits and the pens in their pocket. That's what I'm the doctors, scientists, people that know.
Not my teammates.
Not my damn teammates.
Epidemiologists.
No.
Let me tell you what one of those doctors, I spoke to him last night, Dr. Leroy Sims, who is the head physician of the entire NBA, was monumental in structuring the bubble. Over 90% of the players in the league are vaccinated. So I know we're talking about Andrew Wiggins or a comment that D'Angelo Russell made or Kyrie Irving, but the majority of the league is vaccinated. Here is where I think, let's talk about across the river here for a second, in Brooklyn. I feel like Sean Marks and Joe Tsai are stuck. I say, hey, they can't mandate it because it's a union issue. According to the union, when this concept came up in August, it was a non-starter.
Yes. Dead on
So
arrival.
it's unprecedented. There are no, they're trying to put in protocols, but it hasn't been agreed upon yet. So here's why I feel like Sean Marks and Joe Tsai are stuck. Kyrie Irving has already leaked from his camp that says, hey, if I go somewhere else,
I'm not playing. I won't play.
That's right.
I'll retire. So think about it. If you're an opposing team, if you're the Cleveland Cavs, you're like, I would love to have Kyrie back on Cleveland, but I can't do that. I can't give up my valuable assets if I know I'm going to get something in return that is not constant, that is volatile like that. So the question comes down to, well, Josiah, what extent can he go to try to get the city of New York to consent in that one particular place over there? I know it's absurd.
Right.
I know it's crazy. But Josiah has a lot of friends in those positions politically. If you feel like a player is not going to play 41 home games, that's a lot of money to leave on the table. You start looking at those type of options. I'm not saying you do it.
But how is that going to look? That kind of treatment.
That's not going to be good.
Well, not just that. I will tell you this, and this is where it gets interesting, and this is where the players actually have a point. Kyrie can't play at the Barclays Center based on the current New York mandate, but a visiting player who's unvaccinated can.
Yes.
That's problematic. That is problematic. That makes no sense. And if to me, if I'm Kyrie and I'm Andrew Wiggins, that's the number one argument I have. As a matter of fact, it might be the only argument I have in my defense. The fact that a visiting player who is unvaccinated can come and play in the arena at the Barclays Center.
It feels hypocritical.
Or San Francisco. That is hypocritical. That is an inconsistency that I would illuminate big time. And I would even, despite how
who dropped the ball on that, though?
I don't know. Well, I just know that the league rules in the city, city of San Francisco, city of New York, basically said, you reside in New York and you're not vaccinated, you can't play at the Barclays Center. But if you're visiting, then you can. It makes no sense. They gotta address that because Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving have a point with that. My other point is, I'm glad that you brought up the fact that the Brooklyn Nets are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because when people were attacking me when I said last week, you understand, that they would move Kyrie in a heartbeat if KD would let them, okay, I meant it. I ain't shucking and jiving. I'm not wiggling my way around. I'm telling you what the hell I know, okay? Here's the reality. Your point is absolutely on point because that's one element as to why it's close to impossible to move Kyrie because KD don't want that. That's his man. He loves that brother. He don't want him to go the way. And we all love Kyrie as a basketball player because he's marvelous. The other side is Kyrie. He's so eccentric. When he sits up there and says, I might retire, you know, I kind of believe him.
I believe it too.
I believe him. I don't believe he's faking. I mean, he's the kind of person, well, is he going to walk away from 30, 35 million this year, 36? He might do that.
He might do that. Already a gross earning of $126 million he's earned.
But the one thing
he can make
last word here, guys. This is a great conversation.
You make a lot of money. You make a lot of money, but when you leave that sport, Jay, as you know, it's hard to come back.
That's right.
Your love for the game supersedes the money.
Yes.
But you're thinking about it rationally.
Yeah. He ain't
You're thinking about it rationally.
He ain't rational.
Yeah. I'd like to see where the players' union is on this, how divided they are if they want to get something done.
The problem is they got to support the player.
Yeah. Still to come on First Take, the moment you've all been waiting for. Stevens A-list following a wild week 3. Not one, but 2 surprise teams entering your top 5. Who are they? And one of the Cowboys, a top SC team.
Right now, based on the way Tom Brady and them looked this past Sunday against the Rams, based on the way the Rams are looking right now, we see that bad man Aaron Rodgers, but the Cowboys, I got to give them some props for the moment. It won't last. I mean, don't worry about that. It will not last, okay? But for this moment in time, early in the season, before dudes get their legs under them, before everybody sits amped it up a little bit, right now in the NFC, considering how they looked against Tampa, and then they beat the Chargers, and then they manhandled the Philadelphia Eagles the way you're supposed to manhandle an inferior team. Keyshawn, I could give them top 3 in the NFC for week 3. I mean, congratulations. I mean, it's just so touching that the Cowboys are a top 3 team in week 3 in the NFC. All right, so what?
But based on their schedule going down, you're going to be clapping for a few weeks, buddy.
No, I ain't gonna
No,
clap.
you're gonna be clapping for a few weeks because they're gonna stay right there, Mina. I don't see them going anywhere. I see the defense continuing to get better, the offense settling in. At some point, the right side offensive line will be intact when Lyle Collins comes back. So unless injuries derail them, Stephen A., you're gonna be eating a lot of crow.
Oh, we'll be talking about all of that.
So I got the Bucks and the Rams.
Justin
still
Fields
at
in
the top. I know the
Chicago.
Bucks just lost. And then I believe the Dallas Cowboys are the third best team right now. And I'm with you, Stephen A. Right now. I think the Packers are the better team in January. Key, you talked about Collins coming back. Yeah, well, the Packers are going to eventually get David Bakhtiari back, which I would argue, we don't talk about left tackles enough, one of the biggest losses in the NFL. If you throw out week 1, in which really everything went wrong for Green Bay and they kind of imploded, they've been the best offense in the NFL over the last 2 weeks by expected points added. I think they have a better head coach than Dallas, and that is going to matter a great deal come playoff times. I mean, shoot, it's their old head coach. He is gone for a reason. Frankly, I do not trust Mike McCarthy with this team. I love the Dallas offense. Clearly, this defense is improved. But if we're looking at quarterback, head coach, and record, I just think the Packers are better.
I think you say it right now. So we're dealing with this from a week-to-week type situation.
It's fluid. It's fluid.
I mean, it's fluid. So it's week to week.
See, you got this.
No, it's fluid.
It's fluid. That's what he said.
And they're going to continue to just keep getting better. And I agree with you, Mina. The Green Bay Packers are not the same team that we saw in week 1. Joe Barry did a terrific job defensively against the San Francisco 49ers. They came back at it. There's no question about it. You got Arizona that's sitting right there. That's not going to go away easily, although their games that they've won all came down to the last couple of minutes in each one of those games, except Jacksonville. They pulled away in the end, but there was a little bit of a light struggle early on with them. I just think that the Dallas Cowboys, I know you don't trust Mike McCarthy, and a lot of people don't because he didn't win but one championship.
And he's archaic.
Well, you asked me if I do, Mina. Here's what I would say. By having Dan Quinn over there, I do more. I do more now by having Dan Quinn over there because having a defense that's going to grow, and it reminds me a lot of what your Seattle Seahawks had early on with him as a defensive coordinator.
Bring Seattle into this. I like Dan Quinn. I love what he's done. I love what he's done with that defense. So here's my question for you. Here's my question for you, King.
Does it not remind you of a young Seattle team?
They look great. I mean, I wouldn't say great, solid. But here's my question for you, Keyshawn, about, again, Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. Does Dan Quinn manage timeouts? Were you watching at the end of the first half? Because what I saw was a coach who continues to make strategic in-game errors, which is, again, why, if we're looking at these margins and we're trying to decide between Green Bay and Dallas, who I view as 3 and 4 in this conference, don't know about your rankings, I really believe head coach is going to be the difference in the end.
Yeah, I know everybody wanted him to get the timeout, go for another 3 points, put some more points on the board before the half. But if his philosophy is, I'm satisfied with 27, even though we don't get the ball coming back out in the second half. If that's his position, then I don't have a problem with it.
It's a bad
if that's his position, I don't
it's
have
a
a problem
grabbing
with
position. I do have a problem with it.
Listen, first of all, let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you how this is going to go down, Keyshawn, okay? Because we see the Cowboys right now, and I get Dan. Listen, I respect Dan Quinn, and I know the job that he did in Seattle years ago. I understand that, even though that was non-existent in Atlanta for some inexplicable reason. But nevertheless, we got to respect what we saw him do as a coordinator, as opposed to head coach, because that's the position he's playing now with the Cowboys. But let's also acknowledge the reason why we're so high on him is because of how low we were on Mike Nolan last year, and how awful the Dallas Cowboys defense was as a result of that.
But that's his job to come in and fix it.
I understand that, and I'm saying it was an easy fix because everybody looked at it and said, first of all, what the hell was he doing there? Because the man hadn't been a defensive coordinator since 2014. You got him off the scrap heap when nobody in the league wanted him for 6 years, and you brought him on as your defensive coordinator, Mike McCarthy. So you corrected that error, probably because Jerry Jones made you. You brought in Quinn. We understand that Parsons, Diggs, and these boys, you've got some potential. But in the end, here's the reality. You're playing against suspect competition. I want to bring that up. Yeah. Because as the season progresses and you're accustomed to playing a certain level, you can speak about this Mr. Super Bowl champion. You got guys that are on this level. And then all of a sudden, it's like this. And guess what? I'm betting that the Dallas Cowboys ain't going to be able to handle that, and they're going to fold because of it when the season wanes.
Mina, I just heard him say suspect competition.
Yeah,
The
that
Tampa Bay Buccaneers is not suspect competition. Going
Not
on the
said
road,
going
neither are the
forward.
Chargers.
going
yeah.
on
I said
the
going
road,
forward.
going on the road
I didn't say
against
already.
the Chargers.
Going forward.
is
I think
not
that's right. I think
suspect
we're
competition.
overreacting a little bit to what we saw out of the defense last night. That Eagles offense is not good. But, Key, I want to know your top three because you're arguing with
Oh,
us,
my
but I
top
don't know
three?
who your top three are. Yeah.
My top three is I got the Rams at 1, the Bucks at 2, despite if they would have flip
Yeah,
flop.
no, you're right. You're right.
And then 3, trying to think who I had at 3rd. I did my list this morning.
Packers.
Look at you, man.
I'm trying to think who I had at 3.
It ain't the Cowboys.
It's
No,
not
you
Dallas,
remember
right?
that.
No. Cowboys, I got them at 10. Top 10. I got them at 10.
Okay.
I got them at 10.
Okay.
So, and then I think I might have had Arizona. Yeah, I had Arizona.
Mina?
I had Arizona
Keyshawn?
at 3 just because of the spectacular
Keyshawn?
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, Keyshawn.
What?
Stay with me for a second. Let me read your schedule. Because I'm going to read your schedule. Because you ain't got your computer for me.
I don't need.
I'm
I got right here.
I'm giving you a schedule. You didn't remember, did you? Listen up, man. Okay, here's the deal. So we got Carolina next week. We like the way they look. Sam Darnold's looked a little better. That defense is
That
no
could be a
joke.
W.
But that'll be a W, right?
W.
We got the New York Giants.
Yeah,
This is the
give me that.
Cowboys
That's a
schedule.
W.
You got the New York
That's a
Giants.
W. That's a W.
We got a road game at the New England Patriots.
That could be a W.
All right, we got a road game at Minnesota.
I don't like Kirk Cousins. That's a W.
Exactly. We got the Denver
Kirk Cousins
Broncos
is
at
awesome.
home. We got the Denver Broncos at home.
That could be a loss.
Oh, please.
No. That could be a loss.
Okay. We got the Atlanta Falcons
That's a W.
at home. And then we got the road game against Kansas City on November 25th.
That could be a toss-up. Depending on how the Chiefs bounce back.
Okay. So look at that
What
schedule
about
right
12
there.
Raiders? Week 12.
Here's the thing about the reason why Dallas and Green Bay are clearly 3 and 4, and you can put them in either order right now. I think Stephen A. and I agree. They're going to win their divisions, Key.
Yes.
Like you're
Yes,
talking about New
absolutely.
Orleans and
Yeah.
Arizona. Those are
Yeah.
not the best teams in their divisions. They're not going to win.
I don't
New
know that
Orleans,
New
and you got a
Orleans-
quarterback who is inconsistent. I love that defense, but you know that Sean Payton's butt was clenching when Jameis threw up that touchdown. You know it. You know
Well,
it.
he was trying to throw it out
And
the
then
back
in
of the end
Arizona,
zone.
you got a team that's a shanked field goal away from losing to the Vikings. So I just don't see how you could have either of those teams over Dallas and Green Bay.
No, I believe that Jameis is going to continue to get better. The defense is going to get better. They get Michael Thomas back. I don't know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is all of a sudden going to steamroll the division. I understand they won the Super Bowl. That defense is not playing great right now. I think you could agree with me
Yes,
on
I do.
that.
I do.
And then Arizona,
They've got some injuries, though.
As you know, Mina, every single year there's one team that comes out. It just happens like that. Arizona. It might just be their time. As much as I fight the air raid offense, it might just be their time to make some noise.
Look, just
might
be safe with it. The Cowboys are a top 3 team in the NFC in week 3.
Okay, speaking
In
of
week
top teams, we got to get to
3.
commercial break. Coming up next here on First Take. Time, folks! Is it an A-list? Is it a B-list? Is it a C-list?
Yeah.
Get hyped, get hyped. Week 3, let me protect him. It's fluid. It's fluid.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Keyshawn, Jeff Saturday. Are you ready for the list? Y'all know what time it is. It's Tuesday. It's time for my top 5 teams. Week 3, remember, the list is fluid. The list is fluid, okay? What happened in week 1 and 2 ain't got nothing to do with week 3. All right, this is about week 3. We gonna get right to it. Number 5 on the list. Give it to me. Bam! The Cleveland Browns. Wow! Proving their level of play. Baker Mayfield isn't making mistakes. The running game is just superb. With Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, these brothers are big time. Odell Beckham Jr. is back as well. Excuse me, the Cleveland Browns. I got to give them some love, all right? Give it to me, please, number 4. Give it to me right here. Bam! The Arizona. Give them the love and respect they're due. I see Jeff Saturday smiling at me. He was surprised by that. I am sick to my stomach, but damn it, I'm a fair-minded individual. Number 3 on the list. Give it to me, please. Cowboys. Bam! The Dallas Cowboys. Yes, me, Stephen A. Put the gap pretty quickly. Okay, we know what a superb blocker he is as well, which helps in pass protection. And on the defensive side, Micah Parsons going into the defensive end slot, rushing the passer, trying to look like the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. Maybe eventually, who knows, doubt it, but we'll see. And of course, this kid, Trayvon Diggs, not Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver in Buffalo, but his brother, Trayvon Diggs. This brother can play. I got to give him love. The defense is upgraded. We see Dallas beat the Chargers. Now we saw him manhandle the Eagles. We saw them nearly beat the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm giving giving them respect. That should make Keyshawn happy, who's got this perpetual frown on his face all the damn time. Let's go to number 2 on the list, please. They ain't these brothers. It's Aaron Jones running the football like that. You got Devontae Adams catching the football like that. Whatever defensive deficiencies you might have, if there's anybody that can cover them up, it's the Packers. And number 1 on the list, number 1, give it to me, the Los Angeles Rams. The boy, you got Aaron Donald, you got Jalen Ramsey and the crew. I know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ain't top 5. Why they're not in my top 5? You can't get slaughtered like that against the Los Angeles Rams and be in my top 5. You can come back because the list is fluid. But for week 3, we gonna go with this list. I got the Rams, the Packers, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Browns. That's Steven's A list for week 3. What's up, fellas?
Man,
What's up?
You nickel slick with this. You real slick. Because you keep talking about fluid, fluid this, fluid that. First of all, Jeff, there is no Buccaneers. They lost the game, but you can't tell me they're not a top 5 team.
Weren't they number 1 on your list?
You don't go from 1 to nothing.
You went from 1 to out.
I don't like how they look. I don't like how they look. I don't like how they look.
Another team that's not on the list, the Las Vegas damn Raiders.
Oh,
Undefeated.
please. Oh, please.
What you
Them
mean?
squeezing by Miami with Jacoby
What you
Brissett.
call that? What is that?
Excuse me.
This is squeezing.
Excuse me. I've been hype on the
beat
Cardinals
the
all season.
Jaguars.
I understand that. I understand that.
And the Vikings should have beat them, but the kicker
Field goal
missed a 28-yard or whatever that nonsense was.
So you
Where are the Raiders?
top 4. Where are the Raiders at?
Where are the Bills?
I'm not that. Excuse me.
where are the Bills?
Excuse me. The Bills had 2 bye weeks. One was against Miami. One was against Miami that has no quarterback, and the other was against Washington that has no quarterback. I'm not giving it to the Bills yet. I'm not giving it to the
So
Bills
the
yet.
Cardinals didn't get a bye?
Huh?
They didn't get a bye?
Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah, Jacksonville. I understand that, but I've been high on the
But I
Cardinals.
don't understand.
You were high on the Bucks, too.
You got to give your Raiders.
They got slaughtered. They got
I
slaughtered.
need to hear your logic about why the Raiders aren't in your top 5, because it's crazy.
First of all,
It's almost like you don't even know football when you do this.
don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
saying.
Okay, first of all, here's the thing. Monday night, you squeezed by the Ravens. That was an incredible game. I give it to you. Then you go up against the Steelers. Don't get me started with how bad my Steelers are looking. I'm already depressed. They even played my funeral music last week, okay?
But you didn't feel that way when the Steelers beat the Bills.
And then last week, and then this past Sunday, you got Miami. You don't have a quarterback. You got Jacoby Brissett throwing safety for crying out loud. I'm just saying. I'm looking at Miami right now. I don't like what I'm seeing. They don't look like a very good team right now. And you know what? That's how I look at it.
I'm just telling you this right here.
They
this
have a
is
very good defense, Stephen A.
Very heavy NFC list right now.
You
Very
said
heavy.
very heavy.
This is very
1,
heavy.
2,
and
3,
your favorite
4.
team for the last 3 weeks, you got them off because they played to
Can
your
I
number
just-
1 team and lost.
I don't like how they look.
And
I just want to make one note. One note.
And you
It's a
gonna
fluid
tell
list.
me
I'm glad it's fluid.
Kansas City, even though they lost to the Chargers,
Jeff, Steven, we're being very rude.
No,
Mina's
it's not.
trying to get in here.
The producers just asked me for notes, and I agree with everything your critics are saying, particularly not considering the quality of competition against Arizona. Is egregious. But since you do care so much about quality of competition, you can't leave the Bucks out after they lost to your number 1 team. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I know they lost.
Yes, I can.
But look at the teams that they've already played. Look at the caliber of the talent on
I
that
don't want
roster.
you looking like that. You don't go to Southern California and look like
Mina, you know how he gets away with all of it? It's fluid. It's fluid. It's fluid.
Hey, Mina, when you talk about quality of competition, these jokers beat the Lions, man. Let's not go to quality of competition.
They beat San Francisco.
Is San Francisco really like that?
I think San Francisco.
That's a good squad. That's a good squad. You
I think San Francisco's better
Like,
than the Raiders.
if it's so
really do?
fluid,
Yes,
how
I
are we
do.
not considering the Bills who just curb stomped? I mean,
Come on,
Mina,
man.
that's what I said.
Washington, actually good
Hold
defense.
on. I love Mina. I love her being on the show. She's fantastic. But I'm getting sick and tired of her jumping on me with y'all. All right, let me tell you something, Mina. I'll deal with you in a second because of your Seattle Seahawks. Okay? But let me say this to you. When we talk about the Buffalo Bills, you go against Miami, and then you go against a football team that don't even have a name. They don't have a name. They ain't got a mascot. They ain't got a quarterback.
My word.
I mean, stop it, y'all.
They lost
Stop it,
on
y'all.
a fluke. They lost on a fluke to the Steelers because their special teams weren't ready. that you don't. That's egregious. That is egregious. You have a largely heavy NFC team without the Bucks.
Wait, not only
you
that,
bumped your
though,
head.
look, and if
you
we
bumped your head.
And let's be honest. Let's be honest. We
C-minus.
all know that. I know it's fluid, but we all know the Chiefs would wipe the floor with like 3 of these 5 teams.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
know, even though
Okay.
even though the Ravens needed a 68-yard field goal, whatever.
Yes, against the Lions.
They ain't
Why am
no-
I doing that?
But they ain't. But you got them. But you
66-yard
got them up there. against the
Stephen
Lions.
A.
Did you see the pack?
Stephen
Did
A.
you see Aaron Rodgers? Did you see him? Did you see him? I mean, come on, man. Come on now.
I guess.
Stephen A., you got a C-. Do you want a chance to redo this? Do you want to lower the Packers and do you want to add some teams
I'm
back
not
in?
doing
Because I'll
anything.
give
I'm
you that
sticking with my list.
opportunity.
I'm
I'll
sticking
give
with
you
my
an
list.
opportunity to correct the error of your
Damn,
ways if you'd
Tennessee
like
ain't
to
in
by the
there.
end
You
of
know
the
what?
show.
Molly, I love that about you. That's what
Yeah.
it's good. That's what it's good. Hey, that's what good teachers do. We allow you to take your test again and
It's a
put
good first
real
draft.
answers back on.
I'll be back
We're
next
trying
week.
to improve
I'll be
you.
back next
Yeah.
week. I'm not
fluid,
changing.
though.
I'm not changing. It's fluid. It's fluid. It's fluid.
Yeah.
All right. That was
I'm
fun.
starting to wonder about that football.
Staying out west, not sure who saw this coming, but entering week 4, it's the Cardinals and Rams who are sitting on top of the NFC West and the Seahawks at the bottom. According to ESPN FPI, Seattle just has a 6% chance to make the playoffs after their 1-2 start. Mina Kimes back here with us, and I seem to remember someone going off about how good the Seahawks were. Stephen A., do you remember who that was?
Yeah, I remember. I remember it was me.
Was it?
I
Was it
mean,
Mina?
invaded first take. You know, love having her on. Was excited that she was going to be on the show with me and stuff like that, Key. And she just went all in on me and was like, you know, the Seahawks, watch what they do this year. And I'm like,
Are y'all really going there in 3 games?
You know, I'm just saying, why?
That's a great
You going-
point.
Because I'm
That's a great
with Mina
point.
though. I think Seattle
Love
gonna
this.
be all right. I think
So-
they'll be all right.
Go ahead, go ahead. I'll let Mina go first. I'll let Mina
Okay.
go ahead and explain
the
yourself. Go
alliances
ahead.
are shifting. It's hard to keep track. It's like Survivor. Stephen A., you know I watch a lot of tape. I suggest you roll back the first take tape of when we had this debate because it wasn't about how great Seattle was. I always had the Rams winning the division. I've had
you
since
had
the
them being
summer.
better than my
It was
Steelers.
about who has higher upside, Seattle or Pittsburgh. You're smiling because you know I'm right. And let me ask you this.
You got me.
Who's got higher upside?
Let me answer that for
It's definitely
you.
Seattle.
It's Seattle. Simple and easy. I answer that for you.
You ain't got to
That
rub
was
it in,
slick.
man.
She just flipped that on you.
She flipped it. She's
Real
brilliant.
quick.
I will say,
You
got
just
it.
evaded
I got it.
that. Do you
And
have a law
Keyshawn just
degree?
jumping in to help her. It's all right. Okay.
I gotta eat a little
on,
crow.
man.
I do gotta eat a little crow, Stephen. I will say I was too optimistic about Seattle. I will say that. The defense has been worse than I thought. I don't blame the offense for much. They have had some
Can't
second half
defend the run or the
implosions. Yeah, game script has really messed with them on offense. The defense has been an abject disaster, frankly. And you've seen the meltdown now twice. I think we realize now that the Colts offense is just simply not good at all. They can't cover major issues in the secondary. It's a simplistic scheme. And if this team wants to compete for a wild card spot, I do not think they have a chance at winning the division right now, given how the Rams are playing. They got to get something fixed on defense. They got to get more of a pass rush. So they do have serious issues, but Pittsburgh's got bigger issues. That's all. That's all.
They
I
usually
still love
fix
your
it,
quarterback, Mina, for what
usually
that's
fix it.
worth.
Listen, here's the bottom line. When you look at the Seahawks right now, I mean, to me, you shouldn't be having these problems. You really, really shouldn't. I mean, when you got Russell Wilson there, you got Tyler Lockett, you got DK Metcalf, you got Carson coming out of the backfield, you should be able to do some things. It should not be these kind of problems where you losing 2 games in a row. Even though it was to Tennessee and Minnesota, Minnesota was their backs. They had their backs against the wall, and we understand
Come out
that.
fighting.
Yeah, they came out fighting. We get all of that. But you Seattle, you're supposed to be able to handle that. Something's different about this team this year.
They haven't been the same since the Legion of Boom, though, defensively.
I know that.
And Ken Norton Jr. is, you know, trying to settle in as a defensive coordinator, mainly calling the defensive plays and not getting any help from anybody else.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I was going to say, you should be getting help. Pete Carroll, your calling card is defense. That is what you bring to this team. So I think ultimately accountability does end with him and also the front office because they just haven't had very good drafts defensively. I'm calling out Seattle. Listen to me. I'm not a homer. I'm saying this defense is a major issue going forward. But I wasn't wrong when I came on your show.
Very objective
That's
of you.
all.
Very objective
She's
of you.
right. She's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's right.
Mina, how about this alternate reality for your team? Okay, stay with me. Where the Seahawks have LeBron James suiting up. It could have possibly happened, according to King James, who stopped by the Manning brothers Monday Night Football broadcast. Take a listen, y'all.
Jerry Jones offered me a contract. Also, Pete Carroll did as well in Seattle during our lockout time. And it definitely got my blood flowing again, got my mind racing again, thinking about the game of football, being out there on Sundays. But, we was able to get a deal done in the NBA, and I was back on the court in no time. But I definitely thought about it. I still got the jersey, too, that Jerry and Pete Carroll sent me from 2011.
Stephen A., he's one of the GOATs for sure in the NBA, but how good do you think he would have been in the NFL?
I think LeBron James is on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. One of the greatest athletes and clearly one of the greatest basketball players who've ever lived. I don't think he would have lasted more than a year in the NFL. I really don't. I really don't. If you see LeBron and maybe he engages in histrionics and a bit embellishment and just exaggerating, injuries and things of that nature. But when this brother gets hit, particularly in the legs, he don't like it at all. And being that he's a legit 6'9", I think that LeBron James, the second those legs got hit, he would want no parts of it. And again, it ain't like he's some short dude. He's 6'9". So
Big
those
dude.
legs, he's a big dude, and those legs would be a prime target. They wouldn't think about hitting him high. Everybody would be trying to hit him low. And he would want no part of that. No way in hell. I don't think he'd last more than a year.
See, the thing is everybody look at LeBron James, Mina, as LeBron James. Greatest basketball player possibly ever lived, right? But that's basketball. Okay? That's just, I get it. You're trying to make a transition from the NBA court to the football field in the middle of your NBA career. Not from high school to college to the pros, or not from college to the pros, or not from college basketball or pro basketball year then to the pros in football. LeBron James doesn't know what it feels like to get hit in the chin going across the middle. He has no idea. Because in high school, you're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. Now that strength grows when you get to college. And it grows even more, as you know. Imagine Bobby Wagner catching him coming across the middle, a Cam Chancellor catching a 6'9", 275 pound, because he's going to have to be 70 pounds, 270, 265, whatever he is, coming across the middle, Mina. And the ball, your ribs are exposed.
Yeah.
Your ribs are, you outreach, Stephen A. They're all them little meaty ribs.
Yeah.
Oh, they exposed.
Oh, yes.
And them Bobby Wagners of the world, and them Cam Chancellors, and them Ronnie Lotts,
You want no part
and them
of that.
young Sean Taylors. They looking
Ronnie
for that.
I didn't know
This
we'd get a
ain't- you
Ronnie
not-
Lott shout out today.
Yeah, but
Love that.
this isn't backing down
Yeah.
a 7-foot, 200-pound big in the NBA and dunking on him. No.
Yeah.
And I
love this.
LeBron, but it's a different, it's just different.
I love that we get to end the show, or at least my time here, with a kumbaya moment, because I'm in total agreement with both of you. But not because of LeBron's body type, because people act like the tight end position is easy and that anyone can just. You always hear people saying, "I just switch him to tight end. Just post him in the end zone." It's a very complicated position. Your responsibilities, both as a blocker, even if you're used as a move tight end, are not simple to pick up on the fly. So the notion that any basketball player, much less LeBron James, could just leave his sport and easily walk into the NFL, it's just not realistic.
Here's what I would say would be an easy transition for him if he was to leave the sport, put his hand in the ground and go get the ball. Play defensive end, go get the ball. All I need you to do is sniff out the ball. If he had a fierce defensive mentality, he could have been one of the good ones at that spot.
My position,
sure.
my questioning of LeBron as a football player has zero to do with his talent.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the willingness to absorb punishment
It's different,
below
man.
the waist. You know, he don't want no parts of
Violent
that.
sport.
He don't want no parts of
Hey,
that.
look, Stephen A. And he don't want no parts of a training camp where you are locked into a dorm for a month outdoors. Not an air-conditioned, nice, we're going to Hawaii for training
Well, he
camp.
did deal with that in the bubble, though. He did deal with that
but
in
it
the
ain't
bubble
the
in
same,
Orlando.
though.
Yeah.
No, the bubble is different than being locked in a dorm room on a little bitty bed that's probably a twin
So you're
size
saying
bed.
NBA
Little
players
different.
are bigger divas. I get it.
I didn't say that.
That's
It's just
exactly what
different.
you said. That's what
It's
you said.
different.
And it takes a diva to know one, so it's all good. Mina, we'll see you on NFL Live later. Always
Yes,
fun
we
having
will.
you. Thank you for stopping
Thanks,
by.
Mina.
Bye, guys.
All right.
NFL Week 3 in the books, and there are 5 remaining undefeated teams in the NFL. Barring a tie, that number will go down to 4 with the Cardinals and Rams playing each other this week. The Raiders will have their hands full when they visit the Chargers. ESPN FPI gives them a 40% chance to improve to 4-0.
Yeah, Stephen A.
Stephen A., are people too high on the Raiders?
I think so. I understand it, though, because football is great when the silver and black are relevant. And it's been so long since they've been relevant that everybody's excited about them. And John Gruden, if we're being honest, it's been a long time since he's been relevant as a football coach. Somebody needs to say this. Okay?
Real talk.
Now, I love John Gruden, the football analyst that did an exceptional job for us on Monday Night Football. I'm a fan of his in that regard. I like him personally, and I think that I understood when the Raiders wanted to go out and get him because he does bring a mystique to the Raiders organization.
Yeah.
And that's undeniable.
There's a certain brand.
Right. But we keep forgetting that when he was in Tampa, after winning the Super Bowl, he went the last several years without making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay? We keep forgetting that, you know what? He's been to the playoffs like 2 times in 6 years as a coach before he got to Oakland and ain't been to the playoffs since he got to Oakland. Before he got to Tampa, I'm sorry. And ain't been to the playoffs since he got to Las Vegas, I'm sorry. Oakland and then Las Vegas. So the reality of the situation is that this is a big year for John Gruden because he's got something to prove. Because when you sign for $100 million with incentives that elevate your contract to anywhere from $118 to $120 million, I mean, anybody else wouldn't have got this much time to get stuff right. So I would hope that you finally did. Having said all of that, Derek Carr's playing well. The offense itself, the running game has been virtually non-existent. But when you got 8 different targets to throw the damn football to, passing the football, Derek Carr has been impressive right now. The brother, I'm looking at his numbers right here. He's completing nearly 65% of his passes. He's got 6 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, all right? He's got this team rolling. I still got questions about them, but this is the thing. Before it was against the pass. Now they're suspect against the run, but they're defending the pass better. We'll see. I'm looking at this schedule right now. Basically, you beat the Baltimore Ravens. Don't get me started with how I'm feeling about my Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, there's the Miami Dolphins, which is why I didn't have them as my top 5. But as we move forward, this Monday night game against the Chargers, that's a big deal. You got a road game against Denver coming up. That's a big deal. I'll see that, and I'll change my mind. I'm not sold on them yet because I'm holding against them, being 6-3 last year, and then losing 5 or 6 and folding like they did. I want to see what they do over the next few weeks before I start legitimizing them in any way.
Well, I would say that's fair, Stephen A. There's no question about it. But yet, still, you got to think about how they won these games. You say, well, the Ravens, you know, this, that, and the other. You know how I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers was coming off a W against a team that everybody figured would challenge the Kansas City Chiefs, and that would be the Buffalo Bills. So naturally, you look at that and you go, well, Pittsburgh's a better football team. Or you look at the Raiders at home in an overtime battle with the Ravens, gave them everything they can get, but they didn't fold. In the past, they would fold. You dismissed the Miami Dolphins, but the Miami Dolphins were supposed to be a dominant football team in the AFC East. People were saying, is it Buffalo, is it Miami, depending on Tua. Tua's hurt, but Jacoby Brissett takes over. That's a wash. The line on gambling didn't even change. It went from like 4 to 3.5, or maybe even up to 4.5. I don't know off the top of my head, but if I can remember, it didn't change much. I think it's just different for the Raiders right now because of, much like you mentioned, a lot of the stuff. Carr's playing well. They, in fact, started to use Henry Ruggs. All of a sudden, the vertical game is there for the Raiders when it wasn't in the past. We know they got Waller. Jacobs is in the backfield. The defensive front is playing better. So I wouldn't just push them aside just yet. Give him a few more weeks and you're going to jump all the way over there.
I like Renfro and what I'm seeing from Renfro as well because I think he's been an added weapon. And when you bring up Ruggs, I would tell you this. I said this yesterday about Deshaun Jackson and how he elevates their vertical game. It's the same thing in Las Vegas. Ruggs elevates the Raiders' vertical game. And if that is legit, moving forward, okay.
All right. Raiders at Chargers Monday Night Football. Can't wait for that one. It's the game we've all been waiting for, though. The return. Teflon Tom back in Foxborough to take on Bill Belichick. Tom Brady Sr. made some news last week with strong comments about his son leaving New England. And Brady Jr. had this to say about it on Monday.
I've actually prepared a statement that I wanted to say, and it's really all that I have to say on the subject. Comments made by Thomas Edward Brady, a 77-year-old insurance company CEO who should know better at this point in his life, doesn't necessarily reflect the views or positions held by his son, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. So furthermore, should Tom Sr. continue to speak out on behalf of his son without the express written consent, Tom Jr. reserves the right to eventually put him in a home against his will. That's all I have to say.
Listen, don't poo-poo being an insurance company CEO there, Brady, but I love this new sense of humor. Could you not really hear it?
Yeah,
Basically, what he was saying is he put out this statement, like saying to his dad, like, don't listen to his dad. He's 77, insurance company CEO, da-da-da.
He's going to put him in a home.
He's going to put him in a home if he keeps speaking, like all that stuff. So just being tongue-in-cheek there. Key, but seriously, how much does Brady owe?
Oh, I don't even let you finish.
Okay.
All.
Let me finish so the people know.
But go ahead.
Bill Belichick. How much does Brady owe Bill Belichick? Because people might be thinking his dad.
He owed everything to him because he discovered him. They passed on him a couple times, and so did other teams. But he discovered him. He gave him the opportunity and the chance to be successful. Okay, because he could have very easily said to himself, I'm going back to Drew Bledsoe, even though this young kid is winning me games. Because coaches, you know how they go. You don't lose your job by injury. You don't do that. Bledsoe gets knocked out of the game, and Tom Brady lives forever. At that point, he made a decision that this player that I took in the 6th round is better than Drew Bledsoe, and the rest was history. So you owe all your success to that organization for discovering you and giving you a chance when nobody else would. I mean, that's just me. Just me.
Here's where it gets tricky, Molly and
Yeah.
Keyshawn, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Okay. I really don't. Because when somebody discovers you and somebody found you and you come from an abyss into the limelight and they're responsible for that, I get where you come from.
Yeah.
Here's my issue, though. When does payback arrive? If I've gone to 9 Super Bowls with you, if I won 6, if I marched lockstep with you and did everything you asked me to do, and then some, and I took you to heights that were unseen, well, I paid back. And so at that particular moment in time, when do you recognize that a different day has arrived?
But that, that wasn't the question, though, right?
What I'm saying is, how much does Tom Brady owe Belichick? And what I'm saying is, at first year, maybe even 5, 10 years in, But at some point in time, when I paid back with interest, with double interest, and I've done all of these things your way, and I've done it for you. When do you recognize, hey, I don't owe this cat no more? I mean, this cat don't owe me anymore. If anything, I owe him because of the way he continues to deliver for me.
But it works both ways. There's no question about it.
Okay.
Bill owes Tom, too, for continuing to develop and listen to him to grow into the quarterback that he was early on in his career.
Right.
We could have quarterbacked the damn Patriots to Super Bowls based on the defense and the style in which they play. The training wheels was eventually taken off. All I'm saying is, it's okay to give that man his praise for discovering when nobody else could. Think about it. Everybody else passed. You don't even know who went. The dude from Hofstra went in front of Tom Brady.
All I'm saying is don't forget that he did something for you too.
I don't think
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think they have.
I ain't saying